It's Prompt Nuggets $30,000 summer cash giveaway, and that's not all. Every day of the week in June and July, we've planned something special for you. Sundays, $1.50 bowling specials, daily drink and appetizer specials at the Gold Bar, hot seat drawings and the party cart. Earn up to 10 times the points 3 days a week. Thursdays in June, win a GPS. Thursdays in July, win a 32-inch HD TV DVD combo. Every Friday and Saturday, 10 lucky people will walk away with their share of $30,000. Where the fun never stops, Prompt Nugget Hotel and Casino.
I'm here with Sheriff Tony DeMeo and Detective David Boruchowitz, and we are at the Nye County Child Advocacy Center. Tell me about law enforcement side of this.
Law enforcement side is what it's always been, is that we're interested in apprehending perpetrators that are victimizing our children, and the Children's Advocacy Center gives us the opportunity to interview the child one time with all facets of law enforcement and social work to provide that child with the best resources as a victim of a crime.
It's a sad thing that we need this building, but we really do, and this is going to help catch people, isn't it?
It's going to help catch people, and we have made arrests. But one of the most important things that we're looking at is making sure that that the least amount of trauma occurs to the victim of this, and we're all about the victim. Our job as law enforcement is to grab the suspects, but we also have to understand is that there's a victimization of a child that's taking place, and we have to make sure is that the best possible care and help the child and the family needs to help them resolve some of the issues are brought to bear as well. And we really appreciate the fact that we have this, and we've been trying to get this since I was sheriff in 2003, and it's been a lot of work. And Detective Boruchowitz and other members of the Nye County Sheriff's Office helped bring this to fruition from the Sheriff's Office side. But we have to thank Note Abuse and the people are making a commitment on this side of it. The medical side of it, the social work side of it, Division of the Child Services, and also those in the mental health field, because we all play a very important part in this, holistic approach to making sure that not only law enforcement and the prosecutor side is addressed, bringing these people through the criminal justice system, but the victims' needs are addressed as well. And that's been something that people have stepped forward before, but when they realize the commitment, wisely they stepped aside, because we don't want to make any false promises. This is a commitment that we owe to these victims, and this commitment that the Sheriff's Office, the DA's office, and of course Note Abuse and those working the child advocacy side of it have made it for them, and we really appreciate it. It's a lot more than just putting a grant together, but it's the people behind it that actually make these programs work.
Detective, I know that you deal with a lot of these perpetrators and these victims, these child victims. Talk about why this center is so important to be here in Nye County, and what did the Sheriff's Office have to do with helping design it?
Well, the need is not only here but across the country, and we see the trend across the country, and we're just kind of catching up to where we should be. We have several of these cases that we're dealing with constantly, and really we've been involved from the beginning, not only in the physical planning of the building, but obviously we've met a lot with the other parties involved in this to make sure that we provide the best approach, so that not only for the law enforcement side of things, but the social work side of protecting the victims and providing with the resources needed. We've spent hours and hours meeting to make sure that everybody's represented and we can provide the best care for them.
And you do look at the types of evidence that you need to collect here. Not only is it a serene surrounding and a place that's convenient for the victims and the family and everything, but you actually have to have certain types of evidence that you need to have collected and certain marks that you need to hit to make a case.
That's true with every criminal case, but when you have children victims, obviously it's even more important to ensure that we're not victimizing them, that we're collecting the evidence we need the first time around, and that we're able to go forward with that one contact with that child so that we're not re-victimizing them.
Tell me a little bit about that, Tony.
Well, the most important thing we have to do is remember the victim actually has evidence with them. This is not like a crime scene where it's a stationary scene. These are human beings that the evidence they have are carried on in their bodies or within their bodies. And it's very important for us to get that evidence as quickly as possible. And also the victim can all of a sudden start the process of moving on. It's a very difficult process to begin with, but we don't want to lengthen that by bringing them down to Vegas and prolonging that negative experience. And one of the approaches that we have, because we've had, in my other agency, we had a sexual assault victim advocacy group, But it was nothing like this. We didn't have the transparency. As I explained, is that when we came across a victim of sexual crime, we basically got just enough information to maybe hunt down a suspect, find out how the crime occurred. But there was no interview, and we weren't part of those interviewing process. A lot of things about the case didn't come to our attention until maybe a week or so later. And this way, we actually have everyone working together, so the information's coming in real time, so we can actually start playing the cases, going after the suspect. The detectives or the people working the case has a lot more information to work on than in the past. The mental health division, youth family services, and of course the no to abuse, and all those social agencies have that information, so you can start the healing process. The most important thing is that we, in law enforcement, we want to get the suspect. We want to take that individual off the streets. We also have to make sure that the victim it starts in the process of moving of healing. You know, there's a lot of trauma that kids go through, and any victim of sexual assault goes through. But we have to make sure is that we look after them, and that you know, we fulfill the commitment we made to get this person off the street, so the kids don't get re-victimized. But also making sure they can actually start in a healing process, so that later on in life these things don't come back to haunt them, and to put to damage them further in their life as a young teenager or an adult, which is very important.
Do you think having a center like this helps the ease of victims reporting these crimes, and may make them more likely to report a crime like this, having something that is so more comfortable and a place that's local in reporting, and also maybe help deter suspects from committing crimes that they know that we're on?
In terms of the victim reporting, our hope is obviously that with it being a one-stop shop where they can come and report it and have it taken care of all at once, that obviously the victims would be more comfortable with making that disclosure. And in terms of the perpetrator, the sheriff can probably answer better about that.
I'll go Detective Boruchowitz' words. Our job is for the victim, and our job is to look at how we're going to collect evidence, how we can get a case against the suspect. I hope that sexual predators don't victimize. I can't speak to what we're going to do, whether we're here or not. The fact of the matter is that the best thing we can do for the victim and for the community as a whole is to get these people off the street, get into the criminal justice system as quickly as possible, with cases that are pretty much bulletproof, that we help the victim, very quickly. The quicker we get these cases moving, quickly we get these cases to the criminal justice system, the quicker the victim can get some resolution and start moving. There's never going to be any closure. I mean, people hear the word closure. There's never going to be closure, but resolution, so they can move on, and they can put get the help they need, so the best of their ability they can put this behind them. I wish that we didn't have any kids victimized. I wish we didn't have anybody victimized by a crime. I mean, we don't like to see anybody victimized by any kind of crime. It makes it especially heartbreaking when we see young kids. I mean, remember we worked the Chester Stiles case, and we understand how that victim was being victimized by this individual. We have a lot of that going out there, and not just in this community, but in our country as well. And the best thing we can do is use this program to better prepare our cases, the DA, to get these cases moving to the court, and maybe through the evidence that we're presenting, and bulletproof as possible, that the defense looks at it and realizes that this case is not going to go anywhere, and maybe get a plea bargain where the victim is not going to be further traumatized by being up on a witness stand. And that's our commitment to the victims, from the DA's office and from the Nye County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.